Sam Seder on the Majority Report. On the phone, it is always a pleasure to welcome to this program the Senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders. Bernie, welcome to the program.
Great to be with you, Sam.
So give us a sense of what's happening in the Senate in terms of the funding of the government going forward.
Well, I think it comes down, Sam, to a pretty simple issue. I think by now, he may not have known this a few days ago, but I think by now Senator McConnell, the Republican leader, understands that he does not have the 60 votes he needs to pass a one-month continuing resolution. And the reason he doesn't have the votes is that Democrats and a growing number of Republicans are sick and tired of trying to run a $4 trillion operation, i.e. the United States government, on a month-to-month basis. And just last night, the Pentagon issued a statement saying that they cannot continue to function effectively month by month. They need an annual budget, which is what we need. So he doesn't have the votes, and I think that may have occurred to him, or at least dawned on him today. And he is now going to have to sit down and negotiate in a way that he has not done before. And what that means is dealing with three fundamental issues. Number one, parity for defense and non-defense spending. There are enormous economic problems facing the working families of this country, whether it's the need to refund the community health center program, whether it's the need to deal with pensions, to deal with student debt, to deal with infrastructure. You name it, there are problems that we cannot continue to kick the can down the road on. Second of all, we have got to deal with the Dreamers issue. A poll came out yesterday. You may have seen it from CBS. 87% of the American people say that we should provide legal status to the Dreamers, and many of them believe they should get a path towards citizenship. This is not particularly controversial. It's what the American people want. We got to do that. And thirdly, we have to deal with disaster relief of Florida, Texas, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. That's it. And within the Senate, actually, I think, compromises will be struck. I certainly will not get everything I want, but we can reach an agreement. But McConnell has got to understand he's going to have to negotiate.
I mean, it sounds he doesn't, never mind 60 votes, it doesn't even sound like he may even have 50 votes, which is pretty amazing.
That's correct. That is correct. And I think the difficulty is that in the past, and probably in the beginning of this process, he kind of thought, well, the Democrats, they're just going to go along with it. They're too afraid to stand up and fight back. But what we have seen in the last few shutdowns is more and more. In the beginning, there were just a few of us, and then there were 30. And now I think we're somewhere around 40. And what is also true is a number of Republicans are saying, for good reasons. Their philosophy is very different than mine. But you go to any business CEO and you say, hey, try to run your business, a large business, on a month-to-month basis, and say you're crazy.
Right.
It's wasteful. It's irresponsible. You can't do it. And that's what a number of Republicans understand.
So in the event that Mitch McConnell does sit down and does try and craft some type of compromise to the extent that you can, that you have a sense of this, what are the red lines? Like, what will you not walk away from?
Well, let me just say, rather than looking at it that way, I would say that there's got to be a strong compromise dealing with Dreamers, which means maintaining the legal status of all of the Dreamers and providing a path toward citizenship and protecting their parents as well, and doing more. So I want a strong Dreamers bill. As you know, Durbin and Lindsey Graham have worked on something. Doesn't go as far as I would like, but it is a start.
Right.
And I think we can rally support around that. Now, where, I'm not all that comfortable. The Republicans want to spend zillions of dollars on border security. I think there's a lot of technology out there that we can maintain border security for a lot less cost than Trump wants to do. That, I may have to give more than I would like on that issue. On the issue of parity, I think there cannot be a compromise. We have had, and again, I know this sounds very inside the Beltway, but it really impacts every American. What the Republicans have agreed to, what we have agreed to, since 2011, when we did the first Budget Act, is For every dollar you spend on the military, you spend it on domestic needs. And we have so many needs in this country. That has got to be maintained. And again, where the fight will be, another fight will be, is how much do you spend on disaster relief? What kind of help does Puerto Rico get? There'll be arguments about that. But I suspect we could reach an agreement.
And in the event that you do reach a compromise in the Senate, then what happens? It's got to go back to the House, and then that's a question of how many Democrats will sign on to help, because the Republicans doesn't sound like they'll be able to pass something like that in the House.
Well, Republicans, they are very right wing, but they're not stupid, and they're looking at the political world. And the political world right now, for them, you saw the results in the state Senate election in Wisconsin early this week. You saw what happened in Alabama. You saw what happened on November 7th. The American people are sick and tired of a right-wing extremist government and an unstable president. And when you have Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House, I know who the American people are going to hold accountable for this shutdown. So I think our Republican colleagues over in the House, they may not like what they're going to have to do, but they're going to have to do it.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos